Hello and welcome to another episode of Doc Wildersport. My name is Carl Koivstow and I'm a board-certified emergency physician with special training in wilderness and sports medicine. Today I'm going to teach you how to manage your child's fever. This video is intended for children at least 3 months of age or older and have the diagnosis of a viral infection or some other known infection that is causing a fever. It is not for the management of heat illness. So first of all, what is a fever? A fever is defined as a temperature greater than 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. The best way to get an accurate temperature in your child is through the use of a rectal thermometer. This is not always very important to know the exact number of the fever, so you don't always have to use a rectal thermometer, but just know that's the gold standard in determining whether or not your child has a true fever. The next best way to get a temperature in your child is probably through the use of an oral thermometer. But make sure your child is actually cooperating, keeping their mouth closed, and hadn't just eaten or drank a cold beverage or food. A note on thermometers. Anything but a rectal temperature can be variable. So don't be surprised if the temperature that you get at home is different from the temperature that they get at the emergency department or in a clinic. The next thing to discuss is whether or not you even need to treat your child's temperature. It is okay to let your child have a fever during an illness. A fever is a part of the inflammatory response that is helping to fight the infection. There is good evidence that a fever can be helpful in fighting an infection up to about the temperature of 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Above that, you sort of lose the benefit, so you might as well treat the fever and bring that down. The height of a child's fever is not necessarily very important. It is much more dangerous for your child to develop a temperature of 104 from sitting in a hot car than developing a temperature of 104 from a viral illness. That being said, there are reasons to treat your child's fever below the temperature of 104. Principally, your child is uncomfortable typically with an elevated temperature. Also, kids will breathe faster with a higher temperature. They'll lose more water. If they're uncomfortable, they may not drink or eat. It's important during an illness to stay hydrated, and if your child cannot keep up with fluids because they are too busy being uncomfortable or breathing too hard, that is a problem. The first thing you can do to bring down your child's temperature is simple things like environmental control. If your house is too hot, you can turn it down. If your kid is in warm pajamas, you can take those pajamas off and let them run around in their diaper. If that's not working, you can use medication. If your child is above the age of 6 months, you can use ibuprofen or Tylenol. The best medication strategy to control your child's fever is to alternate ibuprofen and Tylenol if they are over the age of 6 months. The reason why we alternate ibuprofen and Tylenol is so that your child will always have a therapeutic level in their bloodstream of each medication. After you take a dose of ibuprofen or Tylenol, it takes a little bit before that medication is at a therapeutic level in your bloodstream. As that medication level comes down in the bloodstream, you want to have another one coming up so that your child always has a steady state of medications to make them feel comfortable and make them able to drink more fluids. Ibuprofen and Tylenol are weight-based, so it's important to get the correct dose at the correct time. Tylenol can be given every 4 hours, and ibuprofen can be given every 6 hours. I've included links to calculators here that are very easy to plug in your child's weight and figure out the correct dose of ibuprofen and Tylenol. If you have any further questions, always reach out to your doctor or go to your local emergency department. Hopefully that gives you some help in determining when you actually even need to treat a fever in your child and how to manage that successfully. Thanks for watching another episode of Doc Wildersport.